Good evening, everyone. So this evening I'm going to do something a little bit different. It's time to get down to business and, start putting some content. Now, some may like it, some may not, but, it is what it is. But today I'm going to talk about a haunting, and it's a mob haunting. So it is kind of mob related. And let's see what you all think. Does anyone believe in ghosts? Do you think, when traumatic things happen, that people come back, or what do you think? Anyway, so this particular story is a well-known one, actually. It's about the Flamingo Hotel, and the ghost in question is Bugsy Siegal. So let me show you, and we'll kind of go from there. Yeah, it's an interesting story. I personally have never been to Las Vegas. It's one place that I've always wanted to go and just never got there for whatever reason. I don't know, maybe later this year, we'll see. But Las Vegas looks like it's a lot of fun. And it's somewhere I'd like to go. So bear with me for a second, and I will start. So it's the haunting of the Flamingo Hotel, Las Vegas. Now, people often think that Benjamin, his name was Benjamin Bugsy Siegal, began Las Vegas with the first casino, but that's not actually accurate. The Flamingo was already actually being built by this guy, and this guy's name is William Wilkerson. And by all accounts, he was like a degenerate gambler, and he started this construction of the hotel. And there were already a couple of hotels already there when the construction was started. But Wilkerson, he gambled away all his money, he ran out of money. And that's when enter Benjamin Bugsy Siegal. Now, this is the hotel when it was being built. It's not a very clear picture, but that was the construction site. And this is how it looked once it was done. And let's see. Yeah, you see all the old cars. That's how it looked when it was done. And there you go. There goes Bugsy. Okay, so Benjamin Bugsy Siegal was a Jewish mobster, and he had ties to Meyer Lansky and Lucky Luciano, who would later go on to form the syndicate, which is now the Five Families. Bugsy was essentially a psychopath. I mean, he was handsome, he had a hair-trigger temper, and he actually hated the name Bugsy. He was nicknamed that because people said he was crazy as a bedbug. And he was actually quoted as saying, my friends call me Ben, my associates call me Mr. Siegal, and my enemies call me Bugsy, but they never call me that to my face. He's really quite a nice looking guy, actually. But the problem was he was a stone cold killer, and he thought nothing of hopping onto a plane to New York to carry out a hit. He mainly did his own hits. He didn't get people to do them for him. And it's rumored that he was one of the shooters in the death of Joe the Boss Masseria. And when, the FBI caught up with him, he did admit to 12 murders, but the FBI put it at least 30, which is, wow. So, Bugsy, he had courted all the Hollywood stars, and it said that he wanted to be an actor like his friend, George Raft. George Raft was an old movie star, in the James Cagney era. He basically would play gangsters, You know, he played gangsters most of the time, I think every movie. And, you know, George Raft himself actually was from New York, and he had driven for a gangster. So he played, you know, he wasn't exactly a gangster, but he knew the people, he acted the part, he talked the part. But he basically just drove people around. I mean, that sounds kind of familiar, you know, but anyway, you know, Hollywood, though, they loved Bugsy, and the stars like flocked to him because they knew he was a murdering psycho, but he had that like element of danger. You know, he was very charming, good looks, you know, and the ladies loved him. And he was married to his long-suffering wife Ethel, but you know, people didn't care. Women didn't care. They loved him. Anyway, once Bugsy took over the construction of the Flamingo, he was a lavish spender, and he was using mafia money. And so on the Flamingo's opening night, it lost money. You know, the first opening of the Flamingo was like a huge flop, mainly because there was a storm. And so all the stars that were supposed to be there weren't able to come. You know, they weren't able to go. So I think the first week it lost close to $300,000, and it was closed down. Now, it did reopen a year later, and it was a success, but it was too late for Bugsy Siegal. He was suspected to have siphoned off over $5 million of mafia money. Now, because he was really good friends with Meyer Lansky, you know, they loved him, Meyer and Lucky Luciano, and they wanted to get rid of him prior to this. But Meyer always, you know, with his mind on his money and his money on his mind, said wait until the casino turns a profit, and then they would get rid of Bugsy, which they actually did. So on June 6, 1947, he was shot dead, actually, by a lone shooter through the window of the Beverly Hills mansion he shared with his mistress, Virginia Hill. Now, this is Virginia Hill. She was beautiful. She was dangerous. She actually was a tough cookie. She started off in, I want to say, Texas. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a show on her because she was something else. She was like a bag lady for the mafia, and she would take money between all the bosses, and she was never really suspected of too much because she was a woman. And so this is Virginia and Bugsy. Anyway, on the night he was killed, Virginia was conveniently going to Europe. She left from Paris right before the shooting. And so they suspect that she knew about it, although it's rumor, you know, nothing was ever proven. But, you know, she's had her own murky past. And so this is a picture of her. She had to not testify. It was when they, you know, question you, the Senate was questioning her, and she didn't, you know, she didn't answer anything. She never rallied, which is why she stayed alive for a very long time. And she was just really feisty. She, you know, she'd tell people to F off in a minute. Anyway, so as of today, his killer's never been found, and the case is still open. And, you know, when he was shot, he was reading the LA Times on the couch. And this is what happened. That's Bugsy after he'd been shot. And that, yeah, see, he was reading the newspaper. So, you know, it's unfortunate that happened to the poor guy. That was him in the morgue. Sad, really. It was sad. This is the Flamingo, how it looks today. The Hilton owns it. Anyway, so what they say is that Bugsy's ghost is said to be haunting this place. You know, not the place where he was killed. He was killed actually in Beverly Hills, and he's been seen in Beverly Hills as well, but he's mainly seen here. People have reported an apparition in Beverly Hills. They've seen an apparition like ducking down as if avoiding bullets. But I don't necessarily believe that one so much, because he was sitting on the couch reading the newspaper. He didn't know really what hit him. So when he was found, he was sitting on the couch. But the main place he is seen at the Flamingo Hotel. And they had a presidential suite where he often stayed. And they're saying that's where it's most active. It's the Bugsy Siegal suite. And many are said to have seen his ghost. And the suite is known as the Bugsy suite. You know, his ghost's been seen in a smoking jacket. They've heard the sound of pool being played in some of the rooms where there were no pool tables. Cold spots are reported around the suite. Objects vanish or are moved around. And he's been seen in the bathroom. And why he would be seen there is he personally picked out the green sink and bath. And they say he loved it so much that he's in there. Now, this is the Rose Garden, and he's been seen there a lot. And what they did, they built a memorial to him, which is this. And people see him there a lot of the time. They had like a little plaque, you know, explaining who he was and whatever. And now they hold a lot of weddings and stuff like that there. So that's quite interesting. But the thing with Bugsy's ghost, though, people say that when they see him, he's smiling, he looks happy, and he looks contented. So probably other people say because he's, you know, his ego was so big, he loves the memorial to him, and so he's happy with that, because he's mainly, you know, as well as his suite, he's seen in this garden around the memorial. So they say he looks happy, contented, and almost pleased with himself, like, you know, he's happy about something, and he's non-threatening. So, you know, a lot of people have claimed to see him. I'd like to go and visit that hotel at some point. I'd love to go to Vegas. I haven't been yet, but I will do. And yeah, that's about it. This is just a quick little thing. I thought it was a little interesting, and you know, I'll try and find a few more. I was watching one on I forget the name of the actual bar. Hold on a second. Let me put the camera back on. Yeah, I forget the name of the actual bar, but there's a bar where, you know, these two guys bought the bar actually, and there was some really disturbing crap going on in there. I mean, oh my God, that was way worse than this story. But that was an ex-mobster, and he was killed at the back of the bar. But I'm going to try and show you that one later down the road. But anyway, so that's it for me for now. See you later. Bye.